All creation is reducible to about 140 elements, which tell the entire complex story of God's thinking, just as all literature is reducible to 26 letters, which tell the entire complex story of all of man's thinking. Neither have any existence beyond their ability of expressing in form the manifesting ideal of creative mind. The elements of matter are all of the same substance in varying states of motion. Gold is not one substance, and carbon another, and phosphorus still another. Gold differs from carbon, and silicon differs from copper, only by the relation of their intervals in motion, or the measurements of their separate dimension, which, when aggregated, constitute their separate states of motion. The divine concept is not a universe of motion, but of ideal in form. Motion is necessary to produce the form of ideal. It is but an attribute of thinking. It is not a principle. Man labors in the bowels of the earth for metals which he can create for himself with ease when he fully comprehends the motion which has assembled the forms of those elements out of the ideal of the divine concept. All that is in creation is fashioned into the form of ideal by the 10-octave alphabets of thinking mind. Knowledge of the dimensions of each state of motion will give to man the power to produce from the most plentiful of them those which are most rare. That which nature has taken millions of years to produce through orderly interchange of potentials, man may produce in a few hours by forced interchange. There is no substance which nature can produce that man cannot also produce, when he knows the dimensions which measure the illusion of form of the substance. Man has control of more energy than is necessary to transmute any one element or any compound into any other element or compound. All that he lacks is the knowledge of dimension in order that he may transmute that state of potential energy locked up in a state of motion called carbon into that other state of motion called gold, and he may have all that he desires at the cost of a very slight effort. The formula for measuring all dimensions of the various elements of matter will herein be written down and charted with all exactness, so that man's burden of heavy labor may be lightened. Years will pass before civilization will have adjusted itself thoroughly to the changed conditions which this new knowledge will bring to the world. But from this change a new civilization will spring. These are the dimensions which, when known and measured, will make man master in that he will be able to evolve or devolve or transmute or synthesize the elements at will. The first dimension is length, the second breadth, the third thickness, the fourth duration or time, the fifth sex, the sixth pressures, the seventh potentials, the eighth temperature, the ninth ionization, the 10th crystallization, the 11th valence, the 12th axial rotation, the 13th orbital revolution, the 14th mass, the 15th color, the 16th plane, the 17th tone, the 18th ecliptic. These dimensions are characterized by one outstanding peculiarity common to all of them, an orderly periodicity. Beyond these 18 dimensions and their inclusions, there are no more measurable intervals of motion. When all of these periodicities are charted, and their mathematical calculations computed with exactness, it will be very simple for the ingenuity of man to devise the mechanical apparatus necessary to decrease any high potential into any lower one, or increase any low potential into any higher one. Acceleration and deceleration are now measurable. Temperature, tone, color, valence, ionization, and those pressures which are known are now measured. Mass is measurable. Known orbits are now measurable, and the unknown ones will be measured when they have been made known. The waves which constitute the complex of all elements have already been computed. The spectrum has been divided and the elements assorted into about 7,000 color lines of light, but they are as meaningless to man as the Hebrew language is to the Gentile. These 7,000 lines of light are the letters of the universal language of light, the language in which God speaks to man. When man knows this language, he will then think in it. When he thinks in light, he will then know that he is the Son of God, that he is one with God. When man thinks in light, he will then know that he is universal mind, that he is all that he is thinking mind, expressing his thinking in light, that he is omnipotent, omnificent, and omnipresent. He will then know that he is life, and that life is eternal, and that there is no death, and that he has neither place nor position in space or time, and that dimension is as though it were not, and that there is but one, and that one he, and you, and me, and the rolling hills, and the sands of the sea, and the clouds, and the stars, and the little violet blooming in the meadow. Already man has gone a far way toward the solving of the great secret of this creating universe, which lies hidden in the elements. Within God's alphabet of light, the locked secret has long awaited the master key of knowledge to open the doors to man. Man is mind. Mind creates and controls the energies of the elements. Mind may rearrange these energies and combine them in accord with its desires. Next chapter, the formula of the locked potentials. Now must be constructed the cosmic clock, by means of which all dimensions may be measured by one formula, as time is measured by the formula of hours, minutes, and seconds. Heretofore it has been written down that periodicity is an absolute characteristic of all effects of motion. With two exceptions, all dimensions of all effects of motion are of the same orderly octave periodicity. These two exceptions are of cyclic periodicity. Octave periodicity is an orderly progression to and from the maximum effect of each octave. Cyclic periodicity is an orderly progression to and from the maximum effect of the entire cycle. Thus may it now be simply stated that all periodicities of all motion of whatever nature, with two exceptions, may be built up on the following extremely simple formula. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The two exceptions to this octave periodicity are mass and tone. Mass means weight. Tone means sound. Mass accumulates all down the entire 10 octaves. Tone lowers from the highest note down the cosmic keyboard to the lowest. The 0 represents inertial energy, and the numerals represent the orderly progressions in locked potential and pressures and orbits. Thinking mind has devised these orderly progressions as its method of evolving the idea of universal thinking into the appearance of form, and devolving it into the disappearance of form.